you've been following the news like we all have, you can't help but notice that Israel came into this war with some form of strategy. America claimed to come to this war with some kind of strategy. But the villain who has the best strategy that you can't fault has to be Iran's. I'm Alexander F. Onilere from Kelebon Crypto, and I'm going to try and go through 10 points that I think is giving Iran the upper hand. Please like and subscribe and help me grow this channel. Number one, it's abundantly clear that they're playing 3D chess while the Allies are playing 2D chess. Last year when we had that 12-day war, it looked like they showed their hands. They looked weak.
Local media reported that the target of the strike was scientist Mansour Askari, who worked on Iran's nuclear program. He was killed along with his wife, daughter, and granddaughter. Hours after the attack, the Israeli military confirmed that it had targeted and killed Askari, but made no mention of the residential facility or the children killed alongside him. Almost everyone we spoke with in Iran told us they feared Israel would launch another war.
And so after the big win in Venezuela,
the United States just attacked Venezuela's capital, hitting military facilities in the country. President Trump is targeting the South American nation over its authoritarian leader, Nicolas Maduro.
President Trump must have thought this is going to be another easy one. What do I mean by this? Well, 21 days into the conflict, Iran has just telegraphed to the world their ability to surprise by hitting Dimona, the site of Israel's nuclear weapons program. They also struck the island of Chagos. This last-minute surprise reveals to us that they're playing 3D chess. That must have surprised everyone. And I bet you Trump calls for a ceasefire.
The island, part of the Chagos, is nearly 2,400 miles from Iran. That's around 3,800 kilometers, and is beyond the range limit that Tehran's weapons are thought to be able to reach.
That clip there from the BBC demonstrating that Iran can hit many European cities within that 4,000 kilometers radius, sending panic through the Western world. This shows incredible patience and original strategy to have kept this quiet until now. Check out this clip from Al Jazeera showing what happened in Dimona.
Striking the town of Dimona, home to Israel's main nuclear site, although the facility itself was not hit. Iran says it was retaliation for a strike on its nuclear enrichment facility in Natanz, although Israel's military told local media it did not carry it out. The UN nuclear watchdog is alarmed but says there is no radiation leak and is calling for restraint.
He came up against an enemy playing 3D chess. Number two, the first thing that wasn't abundantly clear at the start of the war, what made Iran think it could go up against this colossal with this huge £1 trillion interceptors. But over the last few weeks, it's become clear that what they were doing is targeting the Allies' pockets. They were making the US and Israel burn up billions with their interceptor that cost 20,000 against American and Israeli £1 billion interceptors.
Iran's Shahed drone swarms are low cost, but highly effective. Each drone, costing around $20,000, forces the US and Gulf states to expend millions per interceptor. Analysts warn that continued drone use could rapidly deplete US air defense systems, leaving bases and military assets vulnerable to sustained waves of attacks. Analysts warn that Tehran's arsenal gives it the capability to sustain lethal attacks, putting US and allied bases across the Middle East at serious risk.
That clip taken from Times Now World demonstrating Iran's ballistic capabilities. There are stories that Iran built drones with balsa wood, which made it lighter, cheaper. They're also using a blow-up balloon of tanks, helicopters, airplanes. Let's turn now to global military, discussing this inflatable battalion supplied by China.
Iranian ground forces deploy high-fidelity inflatable decoys, turning the desert into a tactical mirage to exhaust Allied precision munitions. These are advanced Iranian inflatable decoys, ranging from mock stealth fighters to S-300 air defense batteries and ballistic missile launchers. Reports from March 2026 suggest a massive influx of these systems, reportedly sourced from Chinese defense contractors. The video shows soldiers inflating a life-sized ghost fleet of launchers in under 10 minutes. These aren't simple balloons. They are engineered with radar-reflective coatings and internal thermal heaters to mimic the electronic signature of real hardware. This Iranian inflatable decoy strategy aims to trick $2 million US Tomahawk missiles into striking a $5,000 rubber target. While viral claims of 900,000 units are likely psychological warfare exaggerations, the concept is a proven force multiplier. By saturating the battlefield with thousands of false positives, Tehran is effectively blinding Allied satellite and drone surveillance through overstimulation.
What is also clear from this war, America is running out of ammunition. This concept of causing a lot of financial heartache for your enemy is described as cost imposition strategy. Number 3, and this is the icing on the cake, the shutting down of the Straits of Hormuz. We never heard of this place before, most of us, but the whole world can see now that once you look at the map, this is the greatest mistake anyone could have made, attacking Persia. Shutting down the Straits of Hormuz was a genius strategy, an idea that Persia or Iran had known for years. Here's the Shah of Iran in the 70s already talking about it back then.
Because the Straits of Hormuz, which is the entrance to the Persian Gulf, is our jugular vein. We live by that. And furthermore, our forces which are there are not just for the Persian Gulf. They're just stationed there. They could serve in any direction. Nobody could invade us without being forced to crush us, because we are not going to surrender.
This, of course, controls 20% of the energy and oil that is produced for the world. Iran has laid mines in the Straits and has drones attacking tankers.
Iran repeatedly attacking the flow of Middle East oil. At least 6 ships targeted in the last 24 hours. Overnight, 2 oil tankers hit off southern Iraq. Video circulating online showing one of them ablaze.
It also has fast attack boats, patrolling for oil tankers. It's brought the financial system to its knees. And now they're saying any nation who shuts down the Israeli or American embassy can have their tankers go through.
A breaking line reported by the Reuters news agency, who say the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, say that any Arab or European country that expels the ambassadors of Israel and the United States from its territory will, starting tomorrow, have full authority and freedom to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. That's according to the Iranian state media.
Number 4, the strategic attack on US bases based all around the Gulf, including databases for like Amazon, I think it's AWS, including embassies all around the Gulf states.
Citibank has come out to say, and I quote, only one branch is open on Thursday.
HSBC has temporarily closed all branches in Qatar. Standard Chartered has one of its most important regional bases there. At Goldman Sachs, employees across the region are also working from home. Dubai International Financial Center hosted more than 290 banks, 102 hedge funds, nearly 500 wealth management firms, and 1,289 family-related entities.
Donald Trump wasn't prepared for this. He even said it in an interview that no one expected that.
They weren't supposed to go after all these other countries in the Middle East. So they hit Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait. Nobody expected that.
Everyone expected that. I'm calling this strategy the Home Alone strategy, where things were planned in advance, all these traps for the villains before they came in, and they were never expected. They never saw it coming. Number 5, the deliberate long-term planning. I'm going to call this the Home Alone style, the Home Alone attack.
How did Iran actually launch missiles from destroyed silos? During the operation, U.S. bunker busters penetrated dozens of launch sites. Satellites recorded deep craters, seemingly confirming the destruction. But hours later, a massive salvo launched from those exact smoking craters. The secret lies in the multi-layered underground cylinder concept. The silo's upper level was built as a giant decoy with thermal simulators. To fully fool satellites, the fake top contains extra fuel to simulate the secondary detonation of a destroyed warhead. Beneath a thick layer of rock, the real hermetic missile capsule remained fully intact. The airstrike created perfect camouflage out of burning debris on the surface. Then, heavy hydraulic rams pushed the real missile up right through the pulverized rock. Intelligence crossed off the target, only to face a devastating surprise strike from the ashes.
Genius. Another coup was switching from satellite-controlled drones to DSMAC-controlled drones, which used landmarks, rivers, and hills to navigate rather than rely on satellite. This clip from Loaded Law explains it more in detail why this was a game changer.
We are used to thinking that if you jam the GPS signal, any drone must go blind and crash. But the new Shahed modifications have stopped looking at the sky altogether. Engineers realized that the satellite signal is the weakest link, easily blocked. Instead of space, they taught their machines to navigate by the ground, just like birds do. A detailed 3D map of the terrain is loaded into the onboard computer's memory. A cheap camera on the drone's belly constantly photographs the landscape below. Artificial intelligence compares these photos with the reference map in real time. It recognizes river bends, roads, and even individual buildings, correcting the course. This system needs no radio waves, so it cannot be jammed by electronic warfare. The technology is called DSMAC.
Number 6, having allies like Russia and China helping them technologically. So they had such things as China providing them with the blow-up battalion. They have Russia providing satellite imaging. And I think they're also helping them with where to target, to be more precise. Another way they're allowing Chinese tankers to go through the straits. And they're allowing anyone who's paid for their oil in Chinese yuan also to go through. Number 7, having a succession of leadership 7 persons deep. Knowing fully well that Israel can target people with their phones and pick up leaders one by one like they did in Lebanon last year, and they did in Gaza, and they've done in Iran. They have a succession that's 7 person deep, which means if you kill this person, that he takes over. If you kill that person, she takes over. 7 people deep. That's crazy.
I've seen reports over the past couple of weeks that since June, there has been a real serious effort to just strategize and make plans for various scenarios and eventualities. And part of that is increasing the layers of succession for different leadership roles across these different security institutions and military bodies, whether it's the IRGC, whether it's the Supreme National Security Council, whether it's the new National Defense Council that was established after the war with Israel in June. So if there's one strike that gets rid of one echelon, then there'll be someone underneath it to take over.
That's 4D chess. Also, I heard that they've divided Iran into 4 autonomous regions. If this is taken out, this region can still function. Number 8, with a population of 92 million, they plan to do what Afghanistan did to Russia and what the Vietnamese did to the Americans in the 70s. Because one of the most difficult wars you can fight is if you have to travel over 1,000 miles with your troops to fight people on their homeland. And they're more likely to want to fight to the death.
You think that you are superior?
Do you think that we generally suffer from that, the feeling that we are?
I think that you are, but you will accommodate with the new realities of the world. We won't be pushed around. We don't wish a war, but if it is imposed on us, we will not shrink.
And this is the country of 92 million. This huge population gives Iran the potential to sustain a huge military army on ground that could sustain years and years of war, just like the Afghans did with the Russians in the 80s.
Iran's armed forces are substantial in size. Iran is a country of 90 million people, and I still think there is a large number of people who are very loyal to the Islamic Republic and who are part of the governing political military apparatus that runs the country.
Number 9, Iran targeting the Gulf states is another chess move the president never saw coming. What Iran has done is blast scattered all that area, making it unsafe for influencers, scammers, business people escaping Europe, and making them feel uneasy to stay in the UAE. The building is bombed, airports are bombed, salination waters are bombed, there's no petrol. How is anyone going to survive that? They've hurt the UAE badly.
The UAE has clearly, by a very large margin, borne the brunt of Iran's retaliation as it targets its Arab neighbors. Out of 3,000, 1,600 or more missiles and drones that have been fired by Iran have been fired at targets inside the United Arab Emirates. And what leaders in this part of the world are saying to all sides, that it is time to find an off-ramp, and they are reassessing their own security. There has been a lull in tourism, there's less traffic, it is supposed to be the Eid season, it should be a high season for tourism and shopping and things of that nature, but instead there are layoffs, there's a dip in the housing market, and what Arab leaders are discussing is how to unite and maintain their own security.
It's being destroyed because the US-Israeli strikes are being conducted using their bases. And those countries, UAE or United Arab Emirates or Qatar, felt that having American bases made them safe. They thought those bases were their protection against Iran. What they've discovered is having US bases, and this would apply to Britain and Germany as well, makes you a target. They absolutely blame the US and Israel for triggering a war that they warned against. These Gulf countries, these Arab countries said, don't do this, because if you do this, you will be creating mayhem for the world. And now they're very angry with Iran because they feel Iran is very unfairly targeting them for a war that they think the US and Israel are running and that they've been dragged into reluctantly.
Number 10, Iran has learned from past mistakes. From the 12-day war, and also they learned from what happened in 1953, Churchill and the CIA overthrew Mossadegh and gave Iran the Shah. This showed them that outsiders making regime changes never works for them, because every time that happens, Iranian people get squashed.
We will no longer accept the status quo. The region has to change. We will not allow the United States or the Israeli regime to be able to threaten us again. In other words, the Iranians will push this war until the United States and the West recognize that attacking Iran is not an option. Not now and not ever again.
So this has made them say there's no surrender, there's no capitulation until the Gulf states pay up for the damage. The rules of that area are rewritten. In other words, they plan to dictate and control the narrative of the end of the war. This is Alexander F. Onilere. So please like and subscribe and help me grow my channel. And I'll see you next time.